Welcome to Royal Daily Report, your trusted source for royal news and updates. I'm your host, bringing you the stories that matter. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update from Royal Daily Report. Meghan and Harry are owing a serious chunk of change. We're talking big money here, and they could be thrown out of Montecito. You know what? Let me tell you exactly what really happened. Word for word, Meghan and Harry, that loan for your Montecito mansion if it isn't paid back in 30 days. I'll have no choice but to take this to court. That wasn't a leak. That wasn't a rumor. Those were Tyler Perry's words. And the moment he said them out loud, everything changed. Because let's be very clear about what this means. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry could lose the Montecito mansion. Not to the tabloids, not to online speculation, but to the one man who helped them survive when they first ran from the royal family. And here's the part people need to understand. Tyler Perry is not broke. He's a billionaire. He owns his studios. He controls his empire. So when a man like that threatens court, it's not a bluff. It's a final step. You don't go public like this unless private reminders were ignored, unless calls weren't returned, unless patience ran out. So the real shock isn't that Tyler Perry spoke. The real shock is why he finally felt he had to. Don't forget to subscribe to Royal Daily Report for more exclusive coverage. Now, let's rewind to 2020 so you can understand what happened much better. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry leave Canada abruptly. Security fears, alleged threats, no permanent U.S. base. This is when Tyler Perry steps in quietly. He gives them access to his Beverly Hills estate, provides security. At the time, this was framed as generosity, a Hollywood heavyweight helping a couple in need. But generosity doesn't explain what comes next. According to sources, that hospitality didn't end when they moved out. It evolved into money. I mean, lots of money. Allegedly, millions of dollars used to help bridge the Montecito purchase. Specifically, the down payment gap was all structured informally without public documentation because everything was urgent. No contracts blasted across headlines, no public acknowledgement, just trust. Tyler Perry, by all accounts, believed he was helping friends get on their feet. But here's the part no one wants to say out loud. You don't loan millions to people who claim to be financially independent. You loan millions to people who actually need it. And when repayments stop, when texts go unanswered, when interviews turn cold, when patience runs out, the relationship changes. Stay tuned to Royal Daily Report. We bring you the truth. This is the part where the story stops being friendly. Because according to insiders cited throughout the record, the problem wasn't the loan existing. The problem was that the payment slowed and then stopped. And when money stops moving, relationships tell the truth. Tyler Perry didn't suddenly wake up angry. He didn't flip overnight. He went quiet. Interviews changed tone. Questions about his help were brushed aside. Multiple outlets referenced in the transcript point to ignored reminders, unreturned calls, and a growing sense that Perry was being taken for granted, not as a friend, but as a fallback. This wasn't about hurt feelings. This was about respect. Because when someone lends you millions informally, the bare minimum currency is communication. And once that breaks down, the only language left is enforcement. That's how you go from Godfather Perry to creditor, and finally to the man willing to say it all on air. And here's the key point people keep missing. Tyler Perry didn't expose them when they were winning. He spoke when the money dried up. Which brings us to why repayment suddenly became difficult. Remember to subscribe to Royal Daily Report for updates like this. Let's kill the fantasy right now. Yes, Netflix signed Harry and Meghan. Yes, Spotify signed them. But contracts are not cash flow. Spotify collapsed first, a reported $20 million deal. Dead low output, executive clashes, public ridicule. Bill Simmons didn't whisper it. He called them grifters on record. Netflix held on longer, but the cracks were obvious. The initial docuseries spiked, but we all know curiosity on a new show always does that. Then came the drop-off. Projects underperformed. Follow-ups flopped. With Love Meghan barely registered. By 2025, some titles weren't even cracking the top 300. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The Sussex brand sold attention, not longevity. And attention doesn't pay long-term debts when expected millions don't arrive. Budgets tighten fast, especially when you're carrying a $14 million mortgage, six-figure annual property taxes, full-time private security, staff payroll, image maintenance. That's when repayment plans quietly collapse. And that's when lenders start watching each other closely. Royal Daily Report, bringing you the stories others won't tell. Here's the truth nobody in Hollywood wanted to say out loud. After Megxit, there was no royal backstop, no Dutchy money, no quiet security funding, no emergency bailouts. King Charles shut the tap off. Prince William closed ranks. And whatever sympathy once existed evaporated after the memoirs, the interviews, and the scorched earth press tour. This matters more than people realize, because when you attack the institution you came from, you don't get to quietly call them when the bills stack up. And by 2024, the Sussexes were isolated. No palace buffer, no discreet assistance, no one willing to step in behind the scenes. So when Hollywood money started to wobble, there was no invisible hand to steady the fall. Which means when Tyler Perry demanded repayment, there was nowhere else to look. No safety net, no cavalry, just deadlines. Let's be very clear about what Tyler Perry's ultimatum actually threatens. Court isn't about feelings. Court is about discovery. That means bank records, loan agreements, emails, text messages, tax returns, asset disclosures, and here's the part that should make anyone nervous. If one private loan goes to court, all the others surface, too. Every handshake deal, every temporary bridge, every promise tied to future projects. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report and stay informed. This isn't about one mansion. This is about whether the entire independence narrative survives daylight. Because once discovery starts, there is no editing, no PR spin, no selective silence. And the Montecito house, it becomes evidence collateral. 20 million Australian dollars asset, sitting under a growing question mark. That's why this isn't just a lawsuit threat. It's a threat to the story itself. Notice what hasn't happened. There's been no denial, no clear statement, no documentation released to shut this down. Just silence. And in financial disputes, silence is not confidence. It's calculation. Sources close to the situation suggest frantic asset reviews, jewelry, inheritances, residuals, potential sales. Because when cash is tight and court looms, liquidity becomes survival. Meanwhile, Hollywood is watching. Other alleged lenders are watching, because if Tyler Perry is willing to go public, no one else wants to be the last fool waiting quietly. This is how financial avalanches start. One voice breaks the silence. The rest follow. Don't miss our next report. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report now. Now we go from personal finances to institutional rot, because the moment Archewell started wobbling, everything else followed. According to filings and reports referenced in the transcript, expenses ballooned past $5 million. Donations dropped to roughly $2 million. Staff were cut. IRS attention intensified. Delinquency notices surfaced before being resolved. But resolve doesn't mean forgotten. Audits don't care about branding. They care about numbers. And insiders alleged blurred lines between personal lifestyle costs, foundation expenses, property usage. When auditors circle, accounts freeze. When accounts freeze, lenders panic. That's not speculation. That's finance. And once Archewell's cash flow slowed, the dominoes lined up. Streaming revenue underperformed. The foundation strained. Private lenders waited. Silence grew louder. So when Tyler Perry finally spoke publicly, it wasn't random. It was timing. Because when money dries up everywhere at once, someone always breaks first. And once one lender steps forward, others start counting. Royal Daily Report, your source for the truth behind the headlines. The Montecito mansion still looks peaceful from the outside. The roses still bloom. The ocean still glitters. The gates still close behind luxury cars. But houses don't care about image. They remember numbers. Every unpaid dollar is etched into the walls. Every favor turned obligation lingers in the silence. Every ignored reminder echoes louder at night. This house was supposed to represent freedom. Instead, it became proof that freedom was borrowed. And borrowed things always come with terms. Tyler Perry didn't destroy a dream. He exposed the cost of one, because independence built on loans isn't independence, it's delay. And delay always ends the same way, with a reckoning. The clock is ticking. The lenders are watching. And whether this ends in court, forced sales, or settlements behind closed doors, one thing is already clear. The Montecito mansion was never the beginning of their freedom. It was the receipt. And this story isn't over. It's just done pretending. That's all for today's report from Royal Daily Report. We've brought you Tyler Perry's ultimatum, the unpaid loans, the failed streaming deals, Archewell's financial troubles, and the looming threat of discovery in court.